Hello and welcome back to the Website Investing Show. You'll notice I'm an Adam down, but I'm a Jake up today. Jake is the digital PR manager at Niche Website Builders. So first time on the stream, so I want to say welcome to Jake.
Thanks very much. It's good to be on. Good to be chatting.
Awesome. Yeah, so we've got awesome topic for you today. If you've been watching the stream, you'll know that we've launched a digital PR service recently. It's going fantastically well. Getting some epic links for our clients and for ourselves. So the topic today is newsjacking and reactive campaigns. So we'll be covering that off a little bit soon. But how's your week been going? How's the last week been going for you, Jake?
Well, it's been good. It's been busy. We've just had a big influx of clients, as you know. So yeah, it's been busy, but really good. I've got a baby scan as well. Got Mrs. Ilkeller's if I forget the date. I think it's tomorrow. So yeah, it's been good. It's been a whirlwind.
Yeah. Well, she's an avid watcher of the stream, so if you get it wrong, she'll know, right? So.
Well, she's sat downstairs watching it now.
Oh,
so she sees. Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah. So your first baby's on the way, right?
Yeah, Feb 22nd, he's due, little boy, which I'm pleased about. So take him to the football, getting the Sunderland season ticket like me, and yeah, exciting. You've got 3, haven't you?
I've got 3, yeah. 3, 6, 9, the ages. So yeah, pretty. As my 9-year-old son pointed out the other day, it's the 3 times table. Our ages are the 3 times table. So yeah. But yeah, no, all good. We're about to move house, so we're moving on Thursday. So we had removal people packing up our entire house today. So I kept going back in there to go to the toilet or get a drink, and it was just absolute mayhem. Just 4 blokes just packing stuff into boxes. So yeah, like it's good. So they're back again tomorrow to do more of that and start loading it onto the lorry, and then we're leaving first thing on Thursday. So it's all a bit hectic here. I'm getting them to do the office last, so making them wait till a lot late tomorrow before they're able to load up the desk and that. So, but yeah, they're moving on Thursday. So moving west. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to be a bit more in the country, a bit more near the beach for the summer and everything. So yeah, should be good.
Yeah, you'll get bad weather closer to the beach, though. I literally live 100 yards down there, and it's just peppering us now with storming. So yeah, look forward to that.
It depends because it might be different up there because Jake lives up the north of England. For anyone in the US who doesn't recognise where the accent's from, but Jake's from the north of England on the south coast. So I used to live in Brighton, which I went to university in Brighton, which is on the south coast. Like it's like a little I don't know what you call it, but just the way the land structure is there, like actually kind of missed like loads of like bad weather and loads of the rain. So you'd often have like quite mildish days. Obviously, when the storms are really bad and the sea would kick up, but actually, I think, I don't know. I'll see if Bournemouth's similar to that or not, but Brighton actually could get away with like missing some of the bad weather just because of the way the weather system is around that south coast. So we'll see, eh? I'll let you know. Cool. So let's see who's here so far. We've got Brian, we've got Luke, we've got Dimitri, we've got Mark, we've got Matt, we've got Birdie, we've got Maeve, and we got Tim. So welcome everybody. Yeah, awesome episode today, packed with value. I hope that will just it's been really eye-opening for us since we've started our service, just how good we can get links, and it's all thanks to like Jake and Jack who've joined us recently. We'll have Jake and Jack together on the stream at some point covering some digital PR topics, but really is if we're talking about quality links, these are the biggest links from the biggest publications in the world, like literally the best links that you can get or dream of. So and we've managed to construct a service where we can just do this for niche site owners for the first time on a pretty consistent basis. So we're going to share, as always, we're going to share you all the tips and tricks along the way. We're going to cover reactive or newsjacking. It's kind of a same thing really. different words for the same thing, newsjacking or reactive campaigns. We're going to talk about that and how you can use stories in the media, topical stories, to get yourself some links. One last thing before we go to hand over to Jake, I'll stop talking. Just a bit of housekeeping. Don't forget to subscribe to the stream if you haven't already. Just trying to grow the channel, get more people, more engagement on these streams. So if you haven't subscribed, hit the like button as well, because if we get 35 likes today on the stream, then we'll give away some merch. We've got t-shirts and hats and mugs and stuff to give away. So get 35 likes. We'll do a draw at the end of the stream. All of the latest and best deals for digital for niche website builders services are in the description. So check out the link in the description if you want to grab a deal. And one of those things you might want to grab a deal for is our digital PR service. While we're here talking today, recently launched it. I guess it's like 2 or 3 weeks ago now. It's flying. It's doing great guns. Yeah, so it's here. You should check it out. And last but not least, we talked about our Building Empires event. We did one in the summer, which was awesome. We're going to do another one in January, February. We're kind of postponing that now, maybe again to the summer, or maybe we just won't go ahead with it at all. We kind of been really busy this second half of the year. We've not done a great job at promoting it or getting a speaker list together, in all honesty. So we decided, rather than trying to just fit it in and rush it at the last minute, we're just going to take a decision to postpone it for now, and hopefully run it again later on in the year. But you can still check out the replays from the first event at building.empires.live. And we cover a whole host, speakers covering a whole host of topics on making money online and growing an income stream with niche sites. So with that said, Jake, I'll hand over to you to talk about reactive campaigns.
Great. Yeah, so I've been running through a few different ways really that we can build links, or you guys can build them yourself. There's some really easy kind of methods that you can take away and implement, and there's some a little bit more creative, but everyone's got a creative streak in them one way or the other, so hopefully it'll be a little bit of inspiration. So what is digital PR? I think Mark and Adam kind of touched on this a little bit in one of the live streams the other week, but I think a lot of agencies or people that do digital PR for kind of sole purpose of it really, which for us is to drive performance metrics. It's all well and good getting coverage in New York Times, CNN, Sky News, whatever it might be. But if it's not really impacting anything performance-wise, then is it really worth shouting about? So, yeah, I mean, some of the metrics on there, 91% of people don't go past page 1, 68% don't go past the 5th search result. I know I don't when I'm kind of looking for informational tips, or whether I'm looking for, buying a new pair of trainers or anything like that. And digital PR is just basically a new way of link building. I'm kind of a link builder myself. That's what I've kind of grew up doing, and it's just a different way of doing it. Both work really well in silo. So yeah, that's our kind of stance on it. It's got to really drive performance. It can't be any of these vanity metrics that you see, 1,000 people seeing your article. So what? Unless it's just some type of performance metric, it's kind of not worth talking about. So kind of like Google's key ranking factors, I guess. Obviously, you've got your tech and your on-site, making sure you've got a lot of content on there, informational FAQs, all that type of stuff, along with a well-built website. Off-site kind of counts for 2/3 of a Google ranking factor. So, it's all well and good, like I say, having a strong, structurally sound website and got a load of content on there. But if you add off-site, which is digital PR, link building, shotgun, all that type of stuff into the mix, then you're really onto a winner when it comes to kind of ranking your website and also driving traffic as a result. So a little bit about myself, I guess. This is my chance to talk about myself. But yeah, so I've joined from a really big agency over in the north of England. Got 14 years experience between me and Jack, who have also brought with us. Yeah, and we'll work with all the wider team. So I've worked with clients such as Puma, GlaxoSmithKline, with Ryland, all of them. But Also, it's it's just as exciting working on those small SMEs and getting them coverage. Just a few months ago, I got one of my clients that literally sell plastic pint glasses of beer in Sky News, and I took a lot of credit for that over the big campaigns such as Puma. So yeah, we work as part of a wider team. We work with the keyword research guys, we work with the content team. I think it's just a kind of very holistic approach to kind of driving that SEO performance and digital PR performance. So on to the first bit. So this is reactive PR. This will be quite familiar to a lot of you guys. How to use topical news stories to acquire links. And there's a few different kind of ways of doing this, I guess. One, Haro, great way of kind of responding to journalists on the spot. If they're looking for an expert, a mental health expert, a well-being expert, whatever it might be, chances are, you can comment, you can get back in touch, you can create a comment for yourself on behalf of your client, and generate some great coverage. What I personally like doing the most is setting up a Twitter and just reaching out to hashtag journal requests. Now, there's so many opportunities on this. We've had some, I mean, like Mark said, we've only been going really for 2 weeks for our client base, but we've already got 2 Metro links, a Mail link, Women's Health link, Euro News, loads and loads, and a Sky News one set to go live in the next couple of days as well, which is exciting. But yeah, just simply just go on journal request and you'll see it for yourself. There's loads of journalists looking for instant reaction to stories they're writing or potentially are writing in the future. And yeah, you can do that a few different ways. You can either reach out and drop them a note directly, you can slide into DMs and tell them a bit about yourself or your client, or you can drop them an email. I think the benefit of doing it directly on Twitter is that journalists aren't always at the desk to check responses to Haros or on their email, but everyone's got Twitter on the phone. So if you send them a message and they're out and about, they're seeing it that live. They're not waiting to get back to the office and check their emails, so to speak. So yeah, journal request is absolutely massive way of doing it. There's a few other ways. So you've got your Haro, which is great service. Response source is pretty good, especially in certain niches. Particularly good in kind of consumer goods and consumer lifestyle. But I think the only kind of downfall, I guess, with response sources, there's a lot of lower DR websites that are pitching out on there. But again, it's good to have a balance, and if that website's relevant, then it's worth signing up for. It's basically just a tool where you can pay per niche. So say I want food and drink response source opportunities, it'll send you a daily digest email, a bit like Haro does, or live as they come in. Yeah, and it's basically just journalists asking for consumer goods or whatever it might be, or expert comment. So that's a good way of building links. There's a few others out there as well. I think press plugs and quoted and things like that. My advice would be try them all, see which one works for your niche. Journal request tends to be a little bit more B2B than maybe some of the others, but you'll find the right one for what works for your industry. But yeah, journal request definitely works the best for us and our clients, but that's not saying that it'll be totally right for you guys. So definitely have a look about. You've got Haro, yeah, press plugs, quoted, response source, and this one. There's a few others out there as well, but they kind of just use the same expert comments and that type of stuff. So yeah, this one that was on here, someone had just basically tweeted, can anyone talk to us why yawning's contagious? And as it happens, we've kind of got a sleep expert.
One question on that. Question on that. Oh, yeah, I guess you're probably going to answer it here, actually. I was going to ask, what can I expect if I do reach out to a journalist? And I guess you're going to go to that. But before we jump off, I guess the other thing is that you can use tools like this TweetDeck, and there's others, right? Where you can, because if you just search for the hashtag journal requests, you're going to be flooded with stuff, right? But you could do journal requests and gardening if you're in the gardening niche, for example, and therefore you'll only see people mentioning the word gardening in amongst their journalist request hashtag, and you can kind of filter it down a bit.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I think another thing as well, if you start to follow some of the journalists that's regularly tweeting hashtag journal request, sometimes they won't actually tweet with the hashtag. So if you make sure you're already following them, the chances are they'll just put a request out and not tag it up with hashtag journal request. That's actually what the Sky News one came from. She had tweeted it before, so I dropped her a follow, and then a couple of days later, I seen she just posted. So yeah, definitely worth doing a topic related. Yeah, and like you say, just making sure you're connecting with journalists. I think it's all about building that relationship. And the benefit of reactive is a journalist's kind of, well, desperate to get this expert comment to finish her article or his article. So if you can be the one to save her and get that comment straight over, like in this case, chances are she's gonna remember you, like this one that I'm showing you on here. And then in a couple of weeks' time, she might come back and say, look, I've got this new op or whatever it might be. So yeah, in this case, we just basically filled out some questions about yawning and you know what it is, and is it contagious and all that type of stuff. And
Pretty
yeah,
short question,
it
pretty
worked
short
really
answers,
well.
right? It's not
So
like you have to go into like massive amounts of detail or anything there. It's pretty brief.
nah, not at all.
Yeah.
I think the benefit of doing this is you are classed as the expert. So journalists will usually tell you whether it's a a really in-depth answer that they need, or they need to include sources. Like we had one yesterday for a major kind of fitness website over in US who'd kind of got back and said, look, I want 200 words per comment, and I want it linked up with sources and images and that type of stuff. And that can be a little bit more work, but yeah, chances are they'll give you a little bit of an idea on what they're looking for. Probably the best way to go about it would be pitch yourself or your client first. So what I did, this is actually the second email. What I actually did was contact the journalist and say, look, I've got an expert. This is the expert. This is the kind of credentials, so to speak. And then the journalist will get back saying, great, sounds perfect. This is what I need, and this is the kind of word count and that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I say, in this case, it was pretty straightforward. The only thing I will say is if you are writing smaller kind of expert comments, they need to be expert comments. It can't just be, why do we yawn? Because we're tired,
Yeah.
because the journalist isn't going to pick that
Yeah.
up. It needs to have some type of reasoning behind it, that kind of expert comment.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. Cool.
So yeah, so like you said, would reached out, and yeah, a couple of days later, Stylus covered it with a do follow link as well. So I think that's a DR84 we got for our client. And I think another benefit, I know I keep saying it, but there's loads of benefits to reactive. But I guess one of the main ones is how quick the turnaround can be. Within 2 days, you've reached out to a journalist and it's gone live. The lead times tend to be shorter on reactive opportunities than it would be if you were just launching a digital PR campaign, because you're kind of pitching blind a little bit with a full digital PR campaign, where reactive, they need it and they need it now. So the lead times for turnaround and backlinks, and you can kind of use that in your favor a little bit as well. If the journalist's desperate to use your expert comment, you can kind of say, well, yeah, like I'm more than happy to get involved, but you've got to give us a do follow backlink or a backlink. You can kind of leverage it a little bit, because the journalist is well desperate to get that expert comment to finish off their article. So yeah, they are 80. Yeah, do follow link. So it's really good for the client, and it's in a really key publication for them as well. So it was actually Jack that got this, so I'm not taking the credit for it. That's why the client provided some feedback saying it's huge. Jack, that's amazing. I'm blown away. It's awesome news to start my day. I mean, above anything, I think the PR side of digital PR is you are getting it in the key publication as well. It's all well and good driving backlinks, but if you're also driving the right people to your website, like it's just a match made in heaven, really. Because people can convert, they can, you're just driving the right type of traffic. I think that's the important thing to stress, really.
Yeah. Sure.
Right. So this is total flip of kind of responding to journalists. And this is something myself and the team do every morning, but there's nothing stopping yourselves doing it in your own industries. And it's proactive, reactive. So it's a weird way of looking at it. But what we do is every single morning, in the UK, predominantly 8:30 in the morning is the best time to do it. US slightly different. It's slightly later, probably more mid-morning, 9, half 9, that type of thing. But what we do is we basically all have a list of set websites and we just look at them. We just go in the websites, we look to see what they're writing about, what's currently trending, has something happened overnight that we can jump on. Could be anything. And all we do is create an angle. So one thing the other day that we spotted was the cost of a Thanksgiving meal had gone up this year. It was about $51 per meal. So what we did was, me and Jack, we basically looked at how much food is wasted over in the US, and I think it's like 31%.
Wow.
So we took 31% of the cost of the Thanksgiving meal and times it by the population that actually eat Thanksgiving. And the big headline was the US was set to waste 4.9 billion pounds on food waste this Thanksgiving. And it was all just because we'd spotted in the news that the price of Thanksgiving had gone up. But there can be loads of examples. There's one I'll just show you on here. But yeah, anything that's happening in your industry, you can either quickly knock up a quote to support the article. You might have some data that potentially helps support it. Or you might just have a blog already sat on your website. Like, it was quite a weird one, but it's National Bundt Cake Day over in the United States. And one of our clients had a full recipe guide of like 27 bundt cake recipes. So we just thought, well, let's just pitch some out because it's the National Bundt Cake Day of the year. So it can be anything. Yeah, and it's all about how you spot an article and see if you can provide an angle to
Yeah.
it. So there's a few pointers
You kind of,
in this slide, I guess.
as an
But
individual, you're kind of uniquely positioned to do that as well, because you only see things that are relevant to you. Like the example I always give is, when fuel prices started going up, like the number of searches for electric cars went up like 5 times, and you can spot that in Google Trends like pretty quickly. But if you've got an idea, like when you see something in the news and it's relevant to what you're doing, you can just like a quick search into Google Trends. Google will give you some kind of idea of like search volumes, but also you can, you know, you can use Ahrefs, but just won't be so instant. I guess that's not really so much a reactive opportunity. I guess we'll cover data projects another day, but yeah, there's you just got. I think what you told me before, Jake, is that eventually you just get. It almost becomes second nature. You get like an eye for these things. Like you just read all these news stories, and you're like, "Hang on, I could add my spin on that, like with this." And it just takes a little bit of practice, I think. But you can actually kind of, start to just like pull ideas that nobody's really thought of. The journalist hasn't even thought about that angle yet until you kind of pitch it to them. So yeah.
yeah, I think one other example that we did over in the US when everywhere was coming out of lockdown, I guess we looked at Google Keyword Planner and kind of got some monthly, year on year or month on month search volumes around consumer spending. So basically, we just looked at what people are wanting to spend the money on post lockdown. Now everything's reopening, and it was pretty simple. It probably took an hour to pull the data, and we pitched it out, and within a couple of hours, LA Times had covered it and give us a do follow link back to the website.
Nice.
And there's multiple other ways of kind of reacting to something that's happening now. I don't know if anyone's seen, but the other day I actually got featured in the Daily Star talking about my Hancock. I know you mentioned that on last week's stream. But that was just, we use this Instagram kind of earnings calculator, but you can get it online if you search for it. And we basically just worked out, well, if Matt Hancock, who's just in the UK, I'm a celeb thing that's launched, was going to become an influencer post program, this is how much money you could make per post. You'll see these articles everywhere, but you can tie it to pretty much anything as long as you can try and be creative in your industry. Yeah, the world's your oyster, really. So what else we got in here? Yeah, so I think 3 key points for this is you need to be able to add value to that post. If it's an article talking about the best Thanksgiving dinners and you're pitching the best Thanksgiving dinners, chances are you're not going to get coverage. You need to somehow think of an alternate view or an alternate angle, something different that strengthens that article. Data is key really as well, especially in terms of building backlinks, because if you are providing data, you're technically classed as the source of that data. So the chances of getting a do follow link technically goes up. Um, but I think one probable benefit from the proactive reactive is because it's not a journalist asking for it, it is less competitive. Haro and those type tools are great, but that journalist is pitching out to probably 1,000 people. And it's a bit of a rat race to try and get that coverage. But I guess the benefit with this is if you come up with angle and you pitch it out, chances are no one else will have done that, or if they have, it'll be very minimal. So if you get it right, it can really, really fly. And yeah, like I say, it's worth whatever niche you're in, it's worth setting up kind of some major moments where you just look over the news. The chances are you probably do it anyway in your industry. It's just a case of coming up with something a bit different, really. And like Mark said, once you're in the process of coming up with those ideas, it becomes a lot easier. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're looking at potentially. I mean, if a campaign really goes viral, it could be hundreds or thousands of links, right? But when you're just doing this journal request, you're kind of going to get you kind of guaranteed only one link at best, right? But when you come up with the ideas yourself and then you're pitching them out to a bunch of journalists, you might get a whole load picking it up, and then other journalists pick it up kind of organically as well and take it as well, and you can really grow. So yeah, this is for maximum impact, actually being more creative and coming up with the ideas yourself can have massive benefits, right?
Yeah, and I think just to mention when you see how everywhere picks it up, that Elliot Times one that I mentioned, the latest we'd seen that was on way over 70 backlinks to the client. I think a lot of places took it up, places like FinTech Times, FinTech News, Elliot Times, CNN, and pretty much it all just became because of that first big bang. And like you say, smaller kind of coffee table magazines started picking it up, and yeah, it just made its own story through, well, not minimal work really. And I guess that's the beauty of it. You can really make a big splash. What we got? Yeah, oh yeah. So back onto this one, I guess. So we'd spotted just to kind of put this in context, really. We'd spotted an article on women's health that we thought we could really add some. So this one was expert comment. It wasn't so much data. And it was for one of our kind of fitness clients who's an expert in his industry, and it's quite a weird topic, really. But it was for weighted hula hoops. Don't ask me. You can tell I'm not very, very good at doing it. But the client got back in touch straight away. Yeah, and like the first one, we offered an alternate angle on it. Journalist saying Kane wanted to beef those questions out a little bit. Got back in touch. Next thing, we've got a coverage on women's health as well. So I think that was a massive one. Yeah, DR87 again, do follow link, and again, a really, really key major outlet for them. So yeah, it just proves that working them both together, the reactive and proactive, can yield some really good results. I think it's really important to do them both together, especially if you're really looking to drive the authority of your site quite aggressively, I suppose.
Yeah.
And that's all.
Awesome.
So
yeah, thanks for that, Jake. Yeah, if you've got any questions, I haven't seen any in the comments yet, but if you have any questions for Jake has a wealth of knowledge on anything digital PR, so we have to talk just reactive. If you've got any questions on anything, then we'll happily pick it up. Let's see how we're doing with the likes. We've got 24 likes, so we need another 11 likes. So hit the like button and we'll get to 35, and we'll do a draw at the end of the show. I guess yeah, so I mean, we're going to cover some other topics, I think, over time, Jake. So you're going to bring Jake onto the stream. So I think once a month we're going to have a kind of specifically a digital PR kind of base show from kind of December time. In kind of your experience, like if you had to like name a few of like the most important things, if you're looking to get started, you've never done digital PR stuff before, you're looking to do it for your niche site. Like what's the biggest takeaways that you can, or biggest bits of advice you can give somebody who's getting started?
So I think the stuff that you can do straight away is one, if you're not the expert, is to create a persona that looks like an expert. That would be a big one. If you're not the expert, itself for the website. Um, if you can make a strong persona where a journalist would kind of, have respect for in that particular industry, then I think that's really important. Another thing for me would be just to start build relationships. Takes 2 seconds to send a useful tweet to a journalist, and they're going to remember you. We've got multiple contacts through doing that, and people think that relationship building takes time, but it doesn't necessarily. I think in this day and age, journalists have less and less time to kind of build relationships. All they want is valuable insight or expert comment, and if you're giving them it, that consider that relationship building. So that's something I'd do. I'd make sure that you had a Twitter account. I think reaching out to them on Twitter is going to be the way forward. I think this time next year we'll be sat here thinking, all the digital PR agencies or people doing digital PR, I'll be doing their outreach via Twitter. I think that's super important.
Yeah, nice. What about seasonal stuff? We're coming up to the season that is Christmas. Is there anything you can think about, all the changes really when you come up to these kind of big kind of seasonal events?
Yeah, I think it's important to kind of to create that content calendar as well. I think making sure that you're aware of what's happening 3, 6 months down the line gives you more time to kind of prepare for anything seasonal. So, we in an ideal world you'd want a campaign created for like 3 months before you launched it, just to give it a strong lead time. But some that don't, sometimes they'll cover the story on the day if it's interesting. It's very hit and miss. I think as long as you're aware of what happens, a good way of doing it as well would be kind of checking to see what your competitors have done over the last few years. If they're, strong authoritative website, they might have posted, got some backlinks the year before about how the weather's going to impact our mental health or something like that. And you can just rehash that and go out this year ahead of them.
And I guess there's things that the same journalists will write on year, like, I don't know, the best kids toys for this Christmas or whatever, or and it'll probably be the same journalist who writes it this year as who wrote it the next year. And you can kind of think of some stuff in your niche and search publications you'd like to get into and find the journalist who's written it. You probably find that they've written again and again about this stuff. You can actually preempt a little bit as well. Like, no, you send them something in advance, knowing that getting them set up for that article they're going to write or whatever, that they're going to write it, or just have the content ready or have your answer ready because you know that they're going to write that article, and you can probably contribute something to that. So I think that's probably another good thing to do.
Yeah, and I think as well, one other thing I probably advise at the start is obviously media database cost quite a lot of money. We've got kind of an internal one as well, which just took years to build up. But sometimes you might reach out to a journalist and not actually know what their email address is. So there's two kind of tips for this. You can, if it's not on the Twitter, you can go on something called allmytweets.net, and you basically put the username in, and you can click on tweets and it'll pull up all of the tweets in one page. So then you can control F or search for email me, or this is my email, or if the journalist has ever tweeted someone saying this is my email address for a journal request or something like that, but it's not evident on a profile, that's a good way of finding it, providing it is a kind of business, journalist account, not just a personal email. And another one would be Hunter, which is pretty common, but It's a good little Chrome extension. I think you get up to 50 searches a day, and they basically just verify. So if you go on, say, a Daily Mail's website, or an article that a journalist has wrote, you can click the Hunter Chrome extension, and it'll pull up with, like, the most suitable email address that they could find, and validates their email and that type of stuff. So yeah, they're good ways of finding emails if if you don't want to fork out thousands of pounds for a big media database. They're two free tools, and that All My Tweets is brilliant. That's solely free.
Yeah, I've never heard of that. I've just checked it out now. But yeah, that's awesome. Okay. Right. So I think we'll wrap it up there. I think we'll call it a day. We're at 27 likes. Should we be nice anyway and give away some merch? It's a bit of a shorter show, so people had to, more compressed time to get those likes in today. But yeah, okay, we'll do some merch. Let me flash the merch so that people get an idea of what they could win. You see, this sometimes gets likes, and sometimes people dislike it or start taking likes away. But so we got t-shirts, we got mugs, and we got caps. So there's some people wearing the t-shirts and the caps. We've got different color shirts. So the Niche Website Builders logo or the partial logo, and then we've got the cups and the caps. So that's what you could win. So if you're interested in getting into the draw for that, first hit the like button, and then I'm trying to work out something else. Hit the like button, and then put your name in the chat. So type anything you'd like in the chat. You need to do that, otherwise your name won't appear somewhere that I can copy and paste it into the draw. So type something now if you're interested in being in the draw, anything you like. So what's some of the other stuff you think we should cover off in future streams, Jake?
I think data, how to leverage data for digital PR has got to be a main one. I think, I think we might have one coming up, don't we? But we'll probably do a few sessions on it, to be honest, because there's data you can go out and get in kind of, you survey people and that type of thing, which costs money. But there's also ways you can collate data for free. Sit in a little Google Doc and send that to journalists and get loads of coverage. That Sky News one I was talking about that's going live, that was us just checking supermarkets' websites and putting it in a spreadsheet. Like, it's super simple stuff, but I think that'll be a really big driver of digital PR. And I think because you get journalists something they can't quickly go out and get themselves, the chances of getting a link goes through the roof. Yeah.
Nice. Adam's just messaged me about something we can kind of cover actually it's a bit salesy. We can talk about the packages that we've got and the differences between them. I'm going to make sure I get these people out for the draw, but let's do this as well. And I'll also mention that what shows we do have coming up. So give me a second, I'll get the page up on the site. So if I share my screen. Oops. Okay. So I hope you can see that okay. I'm trying to scroll in the wrong place. Here you go. So this is our digital PR page. There's a number of different standard packages, I guess we have. So the first one starts at $1,200. Pretty affordable really for niche site owner, which is something that you wouldn't really have associated with digital PR in the past. What we guarantee for that is a minimum of 9 organic placements. So this really is a minimum. Often we'll see getting a lot higher, but we wanted to make some sort of guarantee so that you're going to get some kind of expected return from that. But as I say, like doing the way that we do digital PR in the way that Jake has already mentioned. I'm just going to copy these names out for the draw. Otherwise, we'll lose them. They disappear after a little while. That's it. Got them in. Then because we're pitching out stories that we've created and then pitching them out to a load of journalists, as Jake mentioned, that one that got 70 links, it could be that happens. And this is per campaign. So this is over a 3-month period. We guarantee nine links, but we still do continue to do the same amount of work over that 3-month period. And we might end up getting 9 in the first month and then piling more on second and third month as well. So that really is kind of a minimum, but we wanted to make some sort of guarantee. But this one's all reactive PR only. So it's all about what we've been talking about today. We have a second package, which is $2,500 a month, which is more of we do like a data-driven kind of exercise, right? So we create we do some research, we pull together some data, might pull that together in a spreadsheet and create something that just takes more time to set up, but like it's some genuine data that then we can kind of pitch out to a journalist. It's not really based on or necessarily based on what's in the media today, but it's an asset that we can create. And we have a couple of thought leadership articles that we do. So kind of much more kind of content created with this, and it can be quite, this in terms of getting links, like because you've got these data assets, you're much more likely to get the link. So we've got much more chance of getting a higher volume of links through doing this kind of outreach. Is that fair to say, Jake?
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's, with pledge 2 and 3, I think it's important to have that content to support the data. Reason being, and this is very rare, but say something big happens in the news, like when the Queen passed away, the news was saturated. So, that was the only thing they were taking. But we know through research over the last kind of 10 year, we've pulled thousands of links and worked out that on average, one content piece can drive you 10 links as a minimum. So that's why they're in there as total bottom kind of, bottom of the pile, kind of 20 links, 9 links, 40 links, but realistically they'll be a lot higher. That is literally if the data set absolutely bombs.
Yeah, and it's still a good result anyway if we manage that. But we expect more. And then the 40 links again, we're scaling up the content again. So we actually do create more artwork around the data that we create. We'll create some more visual assets again, which will be kind of attractive for journalists to kind of share within their stories. And we do twice the number of thought leadership articles as well. I guess the full content strategy is like something that's like a little bit different. So do you want to just cover that as well, Jake?
Yeah, so I guess if you are doing your own paid social ads or, however you market your own niche website or whatever it is, we can provide all the audience research tools. So what it's particularly useful is we use YouGov and a few other audience persona kind of tools, is that we basically tell you who's the highest kind of value traffic drivers to your website. So what you can do is we'll create a full content strategy saying this is who you should be targeting. These are the websites that they hang out on. This is the type of content that they're consuming. And you can basically take that and replicate it across your other kind of marketing channels. So it works particularly well in paid. So you can, really build out your paid social personas if you're looking to target certain people on Facebook or whatever it might be. Just gives you that kind of back end research, so you know who you should be targeting and when and where, really. It's really comprehensive, quite in depth.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay. So that's the offerings we have. If you've got any questions, you can go onto that page and then book a call as well. And Jake and Dave probably will jump on a call with you and to kind of take you through the service and kind of what it could do for your site. So feel free to do that. We do have a question. How many links are you seeing per month so far on the packages you're doing on the reactive one? So we've literally just launched, but you've got some experience historically, Jake, I'd say.
Yeah, so we have just launched, but for some of them that we've mentioned kind of briefly on the call, they've already hit their target in month 1. So we've already got 2 clients that's already hit their reactive quarterly target in month 1. And I've wrote some of the kind of links that we've got here, and if you do want us to dive into it further, I can dig them out. But We've had Daily Mail, 2 on Metro, Women's Health, 3 on Yahoo, 1 on the Daily Star, 1 on Euronews, 1 on Stylist, Woman and Home, Eat This Not That times 3. So it's going mad. But yeah, 2 of our clients that only signed up 2 weeks ago have already hit the quarterly target,
Yeah.
which I'm really proud about.
Yeah, that's awesome. And Maeve's already asking the same question. So then, do you stop after month 1?
No, absolutely not. They are absolute bare minimums. We have this kind of approach, and we call it always on approach, where every single morning we're looking out for our clients, whether we've hit targets, whether it's the same process across the full board. We never let that up. Especially because it's really good to get a link on one of the top sites, like for us personally, never mind for the client. So no, we absolutely don't. You know, if something happens in the news, we will be reacting to it regardless of how many links we've built.
Yeah, absolutely. And the content that we're creating is kind of guaranteed as well. We don't stop. We'll continue to create that content, and then we'll do journalist outreach based on that content as well. So those campaigns continue. Those pieces of content are split over the 3 months in terms of when we put them on build them and put them on the site. And we'll also do outreach for that, as well as the ongoing reactive media mornings that Jake's already mentioned. So no, we don't stop. And that's why I'm looking forward to it being a few months in, and where we can kind of share some, this is how many links we got for each of the package levels, and kind of start showing that, because we wanted to show that minimum, but we expect a whole bunch more. What do you do if you have competing websites? Maeve, we assume you're talking about if we have 1-2 customers in the same niche. It's the same for all of our other services. So for content and non-link building in the past, just because of the nature of we work with a lot of customers, we can't only work in one niche for one person. But what we do is that everybody's kind of research is kind of unique. All the work that we do for them is completely kind of independent to them. And so we look at their site, we look at the opportunity we have for them, and stuff that they've covered on their site before, and it's all kind of unique. We don't kind of cross pollinate kind of in that way. I think that's the question you're asking. If so, I hope that answers it. Anything to add on that, or anything, Jake?
Well, I guess when we look at the keyword research, chances are, especially for package 2 and 3, where it's a little bit more targeted in the category as well, even though you might be in the same kind of niche, you might be ranking for different kind of keywords. So what we tend to do is we take a category on the client's website and say, well, there's 5 opportunities of keywords that we think we could get ranking on page 1 within this category, based on the fact it's mid-range competitive, good search volume, and you're ranking between 10 and 30 or something like that. And would really put emphasis on the one category, so that come the end of the quarter, you can see that there's been a clear return investment, because that category's gone like that. So you can kind of attribute it that way. But yeah, I mean, even though it's the same niche with a certain competing website or whatever, chances are you'll be ranking for different keywords. So yeah, would be
Good
splitting
point.
that out anyway.
And that's a massive thing, I think about the service that we're offering. We really try to tailor it to niche site owners. So we're not just trying to get links to the homepage from these. We'll look at your site, we'll do some analysis on your site, and we'll say, we think we should really target this silo, this category within your site. And for this campaign, we're just going to target that category. And then, the goal being that we see the rankings go up, the traffic go up from that category. So it's very, very much about driving more traffic to those different silos and those different categories on your site. And that's something that's kind of not all digital PR agencies will look at. That it's more about impressions and stuff like that, and then less interested in the SEO and more interested in just driving homepage links. So we're much more targeted than that. Excellent. April, there might be. There might be. Watch this space. We have Black Friday deals every year. So yes is the answer. Yeah, sign up. I mean, the longer answer is sign up to our mailing list. So if you go to the contact us page on the Niche Website Builders website, nichewebsite.builders, you'll get email when we launch the Black Friday service. So I won't mention when it is, but it's next Monday. Okay. Okay, let's do this draw then. I don't think we've got any more questions right here. Oh, hang on. Dimitri's just popped one in. Are there any requirements to websites or what looks legit for journalists to link back? Good question.
It's a really good question. I think one thing I'd say about that is 10 years ago that would have been important. Journalists wouldn't be linking back to gambling website. However, now I think because the gambling website is creating a full data study, which has got, legit sources and it's not advertorial. We're not promoting gambling, anything like that. It can work really well. And in fact, I'd sometimes say that if it is a tough niche to be in, then it's less competitive as well. So, for example, we've got a CBD kind of client, and we've just set up an interview with Healthline, which is literally one of the biggest health websites. And it's because when there is an opportunity there to kind of, to talk about a certain taboo subject, no one else is doing it. So you've already kind of got one foot in the door by doing that. It's actually quite weird, but if you look at some of the big in the UK, we've got there's a brand called Love Honey, which is basically sex toys and things like that. But if you look at their kind of blog, some of their digital PR campaigns are brilliant. So what I'd say was yes, 10 years ago, but now I think journalists are definitely linking a bit more out of it. So yeah.
And I guess Dimitri might be thinking a little bit as well about like the design of site. With niche sites, they come in, they range from pretty good looking to pretty rough looking at times. So I guess if the site looks like it came out of the 80s, do you think that might hinder the chance of getting a link or not really?
Nah, I don't think so. I think it depends what the data is. I think if the data is not legit or then you're in trouble. But I think journalists are linked to anything, providing you've included some really good sources in a blog post with, you've put government data in, whatever it might be. I don't think that's an issue anymore. I think again, 10 years ago, if you provided a journalist with a really rubbish looking infographic, they wouldn't put it on the website and link back. But now I think because everything's going data heavy, as long as what you're writing about's legit and your data's bang on point and full of sources, and the journalist can say that it's well researched, I don't think there's any problems for doing that. I mean, the pint glass one that I mentioned, their website was absolutely atrocious, and we got them on Sky News. So yeah, I don't think that's as much of a problem anymore, providing that your data is legit.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, so thanks for the questions. They were really good questions, actually. So what we'll end up doing now is we'll do the draw for the merch. Let me just hang on. I've got to do this stuff myself now. Adam normally does the music. Can I remember how to do the music? There you go. Chill hop. Okay. Excellent. Good luck, everybody. Oh, put left niche for plot builders in there. Like we skipped over. Buddy O'Brien. Brian. It's like. Congratulations, Brian. We'll do one more spin of the wheel as well. So Brian, yeah, head over to Niche Website Builders website and drop us a message in the chat or on the contact form, and we'll make sure the merch gets out to you. Oh no, Fruitbat Cat. Could be Fruitbat Cat. Look at this. Congratulations, Fruitbat Cat. If you also head over to the Niche Website Builders website, nichewebsite.builders, and we will, find out what we want. If you need any sizes of t-shirts or anything like that, then we'll sort you out with that. But yeah, drop us a message and we'll catch up with you. Well, thanks for that today, Jake. Really interesting, really informative. No other last questions, are there? No, they're not. So yeah, we'll say actually I will mention what we've got coming up. So we're doing 2 live streams for the next few weeks, on a Tuesday and a Thursday. So Thursday we've got the Beast Study update. So this is our monster case study where we're adding 2,000 posts to a case study site in just over in 3 or 4 months. But also we are building our domain authority or domain rating. I think it started at around 20-ish, maybe a little bit higher than that. We're building that up to, and I can't even remember the number now, DL40, DL45, but we're using 301 redirects, buying other age domains, 301 redirecting them, and we're using some Haro and some digital PR to grow authority on that site with the goal to have some pretty good revenue coming through that in the next year to 2 years. So if you want to update on that and how that's going, spoiler, it's going pretty well. Then check that out on Thursday. And next week we've got an update on our kind of data project. The title of the show is "We Analyze 5,000 Content Sites," and this is what we found out. So answer some of those questions, like if I want to get to $5,000 a month, like what do I need to do? Like how many pieces of content do I need to create? What's the average DR of a site in my niche that I need to get to? So it kind of helps you, give you a roadmap for like what you need to do. Do you need to create content? Do you need to create links to kind of get to that kind of threshold? And so that's kind of really interesting data. So we've got that coming up next Tuesday as well. And then we'll have Jake on again next Thursday. Top tier links using data to create stories journalists love. So we'll cover that topic off next week as well. If you enjoyed this one, then make sure you tune in for that. Thanks again, Jake. We'll catch you all again on Thursday, and of course next week too. Well, I won't be here Thursday because I'm moving house, but Adam will be here, and Eleanor as usual. So goodbye, everybody. Catch you next time.